Well, hello, and welcome back to the ADHD operating manual. I say welcome back. Have you ever been to McDonald's recently or like other fast food restaurants where they're like, welcome back? And I'm always like, how presumptive that I've been. Okay, yeah, hi, welcome back. So I hope that's you. Welcome back. I'm Coach Jen. I will be your guide today and every day on this podcast. You can find me anywhere on social media, Coach Jen T. Johnson, Johnsson. I'm on YouTube, I'm on the TikTok, I'm on the Instagram, and I am showing my age by saying the Instagram, the TikTok, and the YouTube. But that's all right. That's cool. I'm cool in my mid 40s. I'm hanging with it. Okay, so today I want to talk about something that I get a question on often. Is asking the question, what is coaching versus therapy versus mentoring? And I hope that I can answer that today. And I want to say this with the disclaimer that I'm talking about my coaching and my therapy experience and my experience with mentoring and my understanding of these. So I really wanted to get that specifically out in the front because when I talk about coaching, as I'll get into, is a little bit of the wild, wild west. It really is like fairly unregulated, unfortunately. And because most coaches are not working for like a central company, we kind of get to make up how we think we can best serve clients. So that will look different in terms of like the calls that you get, the support that you get, the resources that you get. And so I'm speaking from my own personal experience, and I may speak towards, other coaches that I've worked with or that I know familiarly. There's the perimenopause brain. Okay, so but the difference between coaching, therapy, and mentoring. Let's start with therapy. So therapy in general is more reverse looking to your past to kind of figure out why you are the way you are, so that with that understanding, you can move forward and start to untangle the past to better understand who you are now, and then in the future, kind of like untangle some of that, right? So I've had lots of therapy experience, and I've had everything from like online therapy to in-person therapy, couples therapy, all of that fun stuff. In general, I've seen sessions go from 30 minutes to an hour, and typically those are out of pocket, they're minimally covered by insurance. So sometimes, I've seen therapy rates anywhere from like $50 a session, which is super affordable, all the way up to 250 a session, 300, just depending on who you go to. So that's kind of the outline of therapy. And most therapists that I've seen do not, they don't typically do follow-up in between sessions. So it's more like, hey, what we worked on in session, and then they may give some homework, may give some resources, may give some guidance. I have found that to be fairly rare. It may be more like, hey, I've read this book and you might enjoy it, but it's not like, hey, go do this thing. I know some therapists often lead with like more like, hey, go do this journaling thing, or here's a workbook or something. So that could be part of the therapy experience as well. And a lot of what I've heard from my clients who come to me, and the reason why they come to coaching is because in therapy, it's like, great, I know this, and now what? And so there isn't necessarily the forward moving practice of how to now practice what you are learning in therapy actively moving forward. And I often find, again, therapy is a little more cerebral, is a lot more of like, yeah, cerebral, I think that's the right word. And coaching can be as well, but as a coach, I make sure that I very much express that I'm not a therapist. I'm not a certified therapist. I'm not licensed. And I stay out of therapy areas. I've encouraged multiple clients to start seeking therapy based on what we're learning in coaching. And knowing again, like you should be in therapy, like y'all should hopefully know by now that like I'm not, that I think that therapy is amazing and wonderful. And a lot of my clients do coaching and therapy together. And I think it's a really functional way of if you have the time and the finances to invest in that, it's super functional because you can go, oh, I'm learning that in therapy, and now I can learn to practice that in life through coaching and have multiple angles of support. So that's kind of like what I see as therapy. Again, there's so many like you can never say like this is exactly what therapy is, but in general, it is looking at behavioral patterns from your past, upbringing, your childhood, your whatever, anytime past, and then looking at that for clues to say why are we the way we are, and then how can we better understand that, and then better function with that understanding. That might be wrong, that might be right. That is what I've heard for. I have family members that are therapists. I've been in therapy, all of that. So let's talk about what coaching is. So, coaching is a little bit, as I mentioned, the wild, wild west, where there is not a central body or licensure necessarily for coaches. So, your neighbor Sally could say, I'm a coach. Here's my PayPal account. Pay me, and now I'm your coach. I mean, truly she could. Hopefully you would hopefully make sure she's has a few more credentials and experience than that, but do what you got to do. So coaching does though have a few I guess you'd call them governing bodies or kind of like the gold star. One of them and the one that I am certified through is the International Coaching Federation, the ICF. And they have formed a guideline of kind of like this is what we adhere to as coaches of ethical guidelines, practice guidelines, things like that. And so that is you have to take a test. You have to have so many hours underneath your belt of one-on-one individual coaching. You log all of that, you submit all of that. And so it is a more rigorous way of being trained as a coach. And then there's individual coaching programs that are ICF certified. That's what I went through. So I went through a coaching program called Lumia. And honest to goodness, like I have a master's in education. And honest to goodness, I feel like life coaching was almost more challenging. Getting that certification and going through that process. So, coaching in general, at its purest, via the ICF, is the firm belief that the client knows the answers, and it's the coach's job to hold space for the client, to ask the right questions, to give guidance, to give guideposts, right? A few bumpers here and there, but really ultimately trust the client 100% knows it. You just need to hold the space and ask the right questions for them. So this is kind of like the ICF version. What I have seen though, and what I do personally is I mix coaching and mentoring. And so for me, the mentoring piece comes in when I'm like, I have 11 years of coaching experience. I've coached hundreds of women. I have certifications in personal training, in group fitness, in integrative nutrition. I have certifications. I have a master's degree in education, and then obviously my advanced life coaching certification. So through that, I have a lot of experience. And where I see coaching and mentoring differing is that mentoring is kind of like telling what to do or saying, here's my experience, go try it on for yourself. And that's really where I combine personally in my practice, I combine coaching and mentoring. Because I know sometimes, especially for ADHDers, it is challenging to have like the blank slate of like, well, what do you think? Well, how does that make you, what would you do differently in that situation? Right. And it's kind of like, I don't fucking know, just fucking tell me. Like oftentimes the women that I come to, they are, late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s, and they are to the point that they're burnt out. They feel like they have tried everything. They are smart women. They are capable. And they really truly are at a loss, right? If they could have figured it out, they would have figured it out by now. And they are at the loss at this point in their life where they're like, I just need some help. I want some support. I haven't had support. And so I think that it has been, I have tried and practiced pure coaching in the past. And I have found that for me and my clients, coaching and mentoring combination is more successful. Because what I can then do with that is I can say, hey, here are some guidelines. Try this one on, go fuck it up, go make mistakes. If it doesn't work, it's not you. It is something where we need to figure out the different process, but I'm going to teach you some skills and I'm going to give you some tools and resources and homework and things to do. And then the client goes out, fucks it up, does great, pivots it, does it differently than I originally explained, and makes it their own. That's the whole thing for me in coaching. So I give that mentoring piece of like, hey, here's some tools, here's some guidelines, here's something I'd like for you to try on. And then the client gets to go out and fuck it up and do it right and do it wrong and make it their own and go like, Jen, I did it, but I did it this way. And I'm like, oh, amazing. That's the end goal, right? And so that's the coaching piece. So then it goes into what felt really good about that? What really worked about that? What didn't work about that? What did you really like think, I want to do that differently. Maybe I'll try this. Like that's then where the coaching piece comes into play. So I do trust in the end that my clients all know the answers and that they are brilliant individuals, but they also really benefit when there are guideposts, there are things they can go try on, there are things that I'm telling them, hey, do this. And then I remove the shame from it. I'm never like, oh shit, you didn't do the thing I told you to do. Like, what the fuck? And I always lead with, I want my clients to truly know, like, why are you doing what you're doing? I want them to know that it is not Coach Jen's way and that this is why you have to do it this way, because that is what sets up so many of my high functioning women, because we are recovering perfectionists or perfectionists straight up, that we think that if I don't do it right, don't follow it the way that she told me or the guide told me or the app told me or the planner told me, then it's my problem and I fucked it up and I can't do it right. And so I won't do it at all. And that's where we get stuck. And that's really the beauty of coaching. It's my favorite moment. So I have a couple of people I'll get to the, here's a story, but we'll get to the point. So, I have a couple people that have said, early on, when they come, they have a consult call, a discovery call, and we're getting to know each other. We're talking about like, hey, is coaching right for you? Is it not? And they say, why 4 months? I'm not sure I need 4 months, Jen. And I'm not sure that like, and honestly, most of my clients do continue beyond that 4 months. They sign on for another 4 months, up to a year of coaching to continue what they've worked on. But that initial 4 months is because you can't hold it together that long. Like you can perform. I know you. I know you, my high functioning friend. You are a performer. You are someone who can come in, get the gold stars, please the teacher, get the pat on the head. And I see that. And I see that, especially probably the first, 4, 6, 8 weeks of coaching. I'm like, I see it. And then there's a moment in coaching where either they disclose something to me, they're like, oh my God, Jen, I have not looked at my finances in years. I have no idea. And they're like waiting for me to shame them. Or they come to me in the middle of like a spiral and they're very emotional and they're like, well, I want to burn it down and I just want to whatever. And I'm like, cool, let's talk about it. And I remove that shame and they're like bracing themselves for me to shame them or to go, you're doing it wrong, or to coach them out of their feelings, which I never do. And so I think it's a fun balance of that. So in that 4 months, you can't hold it together for 4 months. I mean, I had a client recently who came to me and said a few things that she felt really bad about. And she's like, I don't want to, I'm so sorry. I don't want to, I take that back. And I'm like, no, no, like what? No, there's literally no shame. This is all great information. Let's talk about it. Right. And so I think that's the cool thing about the first initial length of the coaching contract in You Supported, my coaching program, is because as a high performer, you can perform, but you can't do it forever and you can't hide. And so it's not like, and I don't want to say like you can't hide in like a really like, and you can't hide because I'm going to come shame you like a boot camp operator. It's like, no, no. Like if you would go quiet, I'm like, what's up? And then I build that trust. I know that I have to earn the trust of clients through that coaching process because they have been burned in the past. They have been socialized to have to be perfect or feel like they're doing it wrong. They've been living in a neurotypical society, burning themselves out. And really there is a deep level of trust that I build with clients. And through that, they then build trust in themselves. I want to say that again. Through the coaching experience in You Supported, I first build that trust with clients where they feel comfortable disclosing how they are really feeling or where they're really quote unquote failing or that they really don't want to do the thing. They're like, Jen, I don't want to do that thing that you just told me to do. And I'm like, oh my God, amazing. I love this. Like, let's talk about it. And then once we establish that trust, then that gives them permission to go, oh shit, I can trust myself. Oh shit, I was right. Oh shit, my emotional spirals might just be part of the process. And if I released the guilt and the shame around it, I can be like, yeah, that's part of my process. Okay, cool. And I can own it. Or, oh shit, I'm avoiding this thing, not because I'm a terrible human and I should be doing my finances every single day and I should be, no, I'm avoiding it for a reason. Let me really learn the skills to process through that versus shaming myself, which never works, right? So then they learn the skills and they rebuild self-trust, which has been so disintegrated through generally living as a high functioning ADHD woman. We don't trust ourselves. We look externally for, am I doing well? Am I doing right? Is this right? And if we feel any sort of shame, that rejection sensitive dysphoria kicks in and we go back into people pleasing. We go back into blaming ourselves. And it's a really destructive cycle. So with coaching with my clients specifically, I really work with them on like recognizing that and then being like, no, you're cool. Like you're totally fine. Let's get out of this dysfunctional cycle of the blame, perform, shame, perform, perfectionism, procrastination, all of that. So again, I really want to say this is my coaching. So this is not the experience you may get in other coaches' programs. But for me, that's the difference between therapy, mentoring, and coaching. And in coaching specifically, so again, I mentioned kind of therapy, it's how it's a, 30-minute, 45 hour and a half session, anywhere from, I don't know, again, I don't even totally know, but I know that I have paid personally $50 up to $250 out of pocket. And so with coaching, again, it's the Wild West where people can literally be like, my coaching program is $75 million. And if you can't afford that, then you're not coming in. Some people do pro bono coaching where it's like, hey, I just do scholarship coaching where, I use some of the funds that I get from paying clients to pay for people who can't afford it right now. So for me with coaching, there's a few ways to enter. And so I try to make it so you can always get a benefit of the coaching experience and the mentoring experience, no matter how much money you have to invest. So I have three free things. You're listening to one of them. That's a very free operating thing where you can listen to this and adjacently get coaching, get mentoring. Secondarily, I have a free checklist. So it's more of an awareness tool. It's this is what high functioning ADHD looks like. It's a free checklist. The link should be in the show notes here, or you can get and find me on social media, ask me for it, and I will send that you that link. That's an awareness thing. And then also obviously all my content. So all my content out on the internets that is totally free for you to absorb, to use. And then secondarily, I have a paid guide, 25 bucks US dollars. And that guide is the ADHD operating manual, same thing as the name of the podcast. And that guide gives you the initial skills to get started with kind of, it's like ADHD coaching. Like it's like me being a little more personal, a little more in your pocket, a little more specific, descriptive of what I do. Because again, you can only put out so much information on a podcast or in a checklist or any of that. So the manual is a PDF with some videos included that talk about the top skills that women who are high functioning need to learn in order to function better, more efficiently, and to get out of burnout. So that has skill building. First, again, that awareness period, right? Of what do we need to build? Why are we the way we are? There's the neuroscience behind ADHD. And then it says the now what. So now what? What do we do about it? And what skills do you need to build? And it walks you through some of those main skills. And then coaching, right? So coaching is 1900 total for the 4 months or 475 a month. I don't make it more expensive if you pay monthly, so you're welcome to pay monthly. And that experience gets you an initial onboarding call, 60 minutes. So we hang out for 60 minutes. And again, this that onboarding call is the foundation of that onboarding call was in our getting to know you call, which is a totally free call where we get on the phone. You're like, hey, I think I want to invest in coaching. I know what the investment is time wise and financially, and I just want to ask some more questions and for you to get to know me to see, do you think that you can help me? And those onboarding calls, you can go to the link in my bio. Otherwise, you can just go to my website there and it'll be there to check out one of those calls and get more information about the program specifically. But on that call, if at the end we're like, hell yeah, this is for you, this is for me, I think I can totally see a path forward for you. And also you are like, yes, this is the right thing for me. Then we go into coaching, right? And then you sign up for coaching, you submit your payment link, and we get rolling. You get an onboarding email, and then we have our first 60-minute call, which is where I was going. So that call, the foundation of that call is on the getting to know you call, and then we go off of that with the additional information that you give me during onboarding. And we have a 1 hour discovery call where then we kind of formulate your plan. We start putting in the first low-hanging fruit that has the biggest kickback for you immediately. So you start getting results and relief immediately. And then ongoing, we have three 30-minute calls every month. So 3 weeks on, 1 week off. And then this is where it differs between therapy is in between sessions, then we have access to voice and text support through an app called Voxer. So you are welcome to stream of consciousness, just voice to me, get out, process it verbally. You can text me, I will respond to you. And that's the difference between, I think, a lot of therapists and coaching is that mine is very hands-on in the in-between calls, whereas most therapists that I've seen at least are very hands-off, or there's an expectation that you will not reach out to them necessarily for like in the moment processing or things like that. So that's my coaching. And then, then we have a regular body doubling calls where I will just pop up a Zoom link and I'll say, hey, I'm going to be here for this hour. Hop on, do your laundry, do your taxes, do some work, whatever you want to do, just some body doubling virtually. And then, any other resources. So anything that again, I have a deep well of support. So I am a certified personal trainer. I can help you with nutrition. I can help you with movement. I can help you with mindset. Obviously, I have a master's in education, so I can help you with that awareness period and that awareness information. Like if you're an information gatherer, I will give you all that you need to feel secure in that knowledge of your ADHD. And then also, obviously, I'm a life coach, certified advanced life coach. And so I give you that kind of like the practical what are we doing with that guidepost in coaching and mentoring, as I mentioned. So that's the program you supported. And I wanted to make this episode because again, I get this question frequently enough. And that should I only work with you? What's the right time? All of that. Let's address that. So again, I think I don't have an issue with people working. I encourage if they want to and they feel like they need to and they're able to work with a therapist while they're in coaching. I generally discourage working with more than one coach in the same field. So I do have clients who work with like a career coach specifically, or maybe they're working with like a parenting coach or something. That's totally fine. But I think if you are working with me, I prefer that you work just with me because again, too many cooks in the kitchen sometimes can be confusing, and especially if you're used to kind of like that people pleasing, that can get ultra confusing. Again, I haven't had that happen before though, but just putting that out there. And then in terms of getting on that discovery call, that's the biggest thing that you can do if you're like, hey Jen, I think coaching is right for me. The other kind of thing that I hear that I always want to like scream about is I don't think it's the right time. Life is too chaotic. Da, 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 da. I'm like, oh my God. Like, no, like the right time is when life is most chaotic. The right time is when you are going through it. The right time is when you feel like you are burnt out. The right time is when you feel like you are overwhelmed. I am intentional about my coaching initially, giving you the things right away that provide relief, that provide more margins in your day. And at the very least, give you a space to unmask and to be. If that was all that coaching was, I would think it's worth it. Obviously, there's so much more that I give, but literally just holding space for the over functioning, burnt out, high functioning ADHDer, that alone with someone who is certified, someone who has ADHD, someone who has coached women over 11 years, that itself is worth the cost of admission, but you get so much more than that. So, is there a wrong time? I don't think so. I've never really seen a wrong time. I mean, again, I've had a client who got married and got her master's degree like within the first 6 weeks that we were coaching. I've had clients who have extensive travel abroad, and they're like, "I'm going to be traveling all the time." But I'm like, "Great, you still have to live functionally while traveling, right?" Or I have clients who are new parents or parents transitioning into being empty nesters, kind of both ends of the spectrum there. I've had clients who have recently had a very big loss in their life, whether that's a death, it's a job, transitioning jobs. Like the worst time is the best time for coaching, honestly. So if you're worried about that, or you're worried about being too much, or you're worried about, oh, I don't have it together, well, like that's the whole fucking point of coaching, yo. Like that, like literally, it's the point of coaching is to come in because you don't have it together. So, and if you feel like I have it a little together and I still want support, you're also welcome as well. But most of my clients, I wish that you all could like hear each other's calls and see behind the scenes. I'm like, most of my clients are really in it. They are really in the mud, whether it's emotionally or relationship wise or job wise or any of those things. And so I just really want to encourage you that if you are feeling the crunch, if you are like, man, I'm overwhelmed and no one truly gets high functioning ADHD. I believe that most coaches do not. People who are coaching ADHD women who don't have ADHD don't concern me necessarily, but I feel like there's a layer there of understanding when you're like, yeah, I get you. Like I totally had that lived experience as well. And so yeah, that's the difference, my friends. If you have questions, let me know. I'm sure I missed something. I'm sure I like had like a big gaping of like, oh God, why didn't she say this or why didn't she answer this? I'd be happy to answer. And if this triggers and if this like gives you more insight, and you're like, oh shit, well, fuck, that's what coaching is. That's what mentoring is. That's what therapy is. I think I want some coaching and I think I want it to be you, Jen. That's amazing. You can go to any of my social medias. You can find my website there. You can reach out via email, coachjentjohnson@gmail.com, and I will be there to listen to you to see. And again, like for me, it's not when we get on the call, it's not a sales call. It's not like a oh my God, I gotta like get a new client. Like I keep my roster intentionally really low. Currently I have 10 clients. My maximum is 15. And so I ebb and flow with my own life as well. End of the school year is coming up and all those things. And so the reason why I keep my roster low is for that energetic exchange, right? I bring the energy for everybody. I bring my intuitive expertise. I bring my actual expertise, my training, my certifications. And so I keep that really low. And so my client roster really low intentionally. Again, I think that's the difference between coaches as well. Some coaches will have like, I worked for a company temporarily that was 1099 where they wanted me to have up to 60 clients. And that works for some people. That's great. It's a great model for some people. For me, that was not functional because I really truly like it was challenging to be like, oh my gosh, okay, wait, who is Katie? Okay, wait, who is Deborah? Okay, wait, who is and so I love to know my clients. I love to like be able to not because I read their notes from the call before, be like, oh, how's your family? How'd the trip with your dad go? Like to honestly, genuinely know them. Because again, you're spending a lot of time with me and you're taking my expertise seriously. And I'm holding a lot of space for you. And I want that to be as personal as possible. I'm not here to scale. I'm not here to do giant group programs or to churn and burn clients. Like I love it when clients sign up for months on end. I'm like, I want to dig in. There's more to go. How can I support you to be your best self? So if that's interesting, hop on a call. That call again, as I said, not a sales call. It's truly just getting to know you. I've had many times where I'm like, hey, this is not the right time for coaching. I think that maybe explore this first. Or I'm not the right coach for you because what you want is XYZ. What I give is ABC, right? And so I have no problem walking away from that and being like, hey, just not a right fit, great. Or like if they're like, you know what, Jen, I'm just not feeling it. Like you're not the coach for me. I'm like, great, awesome. I'd rather have that because again, we are going to be spending a lot of time together. I'd rather have you be like, no, or me like, I'm not sure we're a fit because once we get in it, we're in it and we are solving problems. We are facing problems together. You are learning the skills. You're putting a lot of trust in me, a lot of energy and effort into the coaching experience. And so yeah, I want to make sure it's a really good fit. So that's what I got, my friends. Find me on social medias. This has been another episode of the ADHD Operating Manual. And yeah, reach out on social media, Coach Jen T. Johnson, all the places. Give me a like, give me a follow. If you want any of the resources that I talked about, if you want the this is what high functioning ADHD looks like checklist, or you want the $25 ADHD Operating Manual guide, reach out to me. Or obviously, if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, happy to have you, happy to chat to see if it's a good fit for you. You can find me on social media, send me a DM. And yeah, I can't wait to get to know you. And I hope this is helpful to kind of hear out loud, my take on what coaching versus therapy versus mentoring is. And if it's a good fit for you and you're like ready to roll and that makes a lot of sense, let's chat. All right. See you in the next episode.